Hi, this is Sarah and I blog over at clickattachstreet.com, and I want to show you an easy way that you can use an iPad or an iPhone to transfer an image to a cookie when you're decorating. Something like text or character cookies like this little guy. This is Om Nom from the Cut the Rope video game series. They can be a little tricky to draw. So what you're looking at is you're looking at the surface of the iPad, and it sits about 9 inches off the surface. It's on a little stand, and it's running an app called the Camera Lucida. And what the app does is it opens up the video camera, which is right over here, and then it overlays your reference image so that you can see it on the surface of the iPad, and then you can see both at the same time. You can see your work surface and you can see your reference image. There's this little slider, and if you slide it down, then all you have is the work surface, and if you come all the way up, then all you have is the reference image. So when you drop it down, you can easily see both. And because he's a cartoon character, he's a really good subject. He's got nice crisp lines. So I had made this cookie with this method, but then that video had a little snafu. So we're going to pretend that this wonderful piece of paper is our cookie and go on from there. It's just a demonstration. You'll see how it works. So I'm going to take a marker, and on a cookie, of course, this would be a food safe marker, and I'm just going to trace. I'm looking at the surface of the iPad, and I'm tracing my drawing on the surface that I'm working on. This takes a little getting used to because you have the two lenses in your head and only the one lens in the camera. So there's a bit of a depth perception issue. You kind of think you're on the surface when you're not actually on it, so you just have to get used to it. I would suggest just playing with the program a little bit, just tracing some coloring book images or something like that you get off the internet. Just with pencil and paper, just draw with the app for a little bit and you'll get used to it. Get his little eyes really quickly. Get the other one. And there you go. There would be Om Nom on our cookie. So at that point then, if I were decorating, all I would do is knock that down a bit. I'd get some black piping icing here, and then I could just pipe him directly, just pipe on top of the line that I just drew. Now you could pipe while you're under the app with the reference image without doing the drawing. You could probably do that. I will warn you, it's quite a bit trickier that way. I find it a lot easier and a lot less stressful to just do the drawing really quickly and then pipe on top of the drawing. It takes, because of that kind of distortion, the depth perception thing, and you're working with the wet icing, and that's all kind of stressful anyway with the black and worrying about making mistakes. It's just so much easier if you do it on a drawing instead of trying to do it directly. And I'm not going to finish that part, but you can see what you have. There he is. Really easy. Just, you can put anything on there. At this point, I would take the cookie and I would fill these sections in green. So once this had dried for several hours, this black outline, just this section and this one and the little things up here would be green, and you'd have a cookie that was, very cute little guy all ready to go. So I wanted to show you a few other little things on how you can use the app to help you with your cookies, especially getting your reference images. This app was actually designed for drawing and painting. You would put your reference image in and then you'd have a canvas or something down here. But it works really well for the cookies. And one thing you can do is within the app itself, you can take a photo, a reference image of your work surface. So now it's open to the back. And if I bring in my sketch from a different set of cookies, these were from some Avenger cookies I did a while ago, I drew this out just at the size that the cookies were supposed to be. So if you had used a cookie cutter or something, traced your cookie cutter, and then you had your sketch on it or something, you could just use the camera function, take the picture, say you're going to use it, enter the drawing mode, and then slide this down so that we can see what we're doing. I'm going to focus. There's a little focus button so that the app, it doesn't try to focus on your hand or something. And then you can see that my overlay, that's the overlay part that's in there, is exactly the same size as what was on the drawing because we took them at the same size. So if you used the cookie cutter and you had that was exactly the size of your cookie, it would all work out perfectly. You wouldn't have to try to figure out, okay, what size is my reference going to be and what size is my cookie, and get that all figured out. Because you took it from this height and you're working from this height, you can see it's just perfect. So at that point, you could just, put your surface down and you could start tracing him, and he'd work really, really well for that. The other thing for reference images, this is specifically more of an issue with the iPad and not the iPhone. Because the iPhone screen is littler, it would actually work better for cookies because you're dealing with something very small. If we pick an image, let's just grab one here, import it from our camera. The yellow bird, you can see he's very big. And he's a little grainy even because the app has made him as big as possible to fit the screen. And you can't make him smaller. You can make him bigger, so if we just wanted to do his eyes, but you can't make him any littler than he is. It's trying to fill the screen so you can draw a really nice drawing. So when you get your reference images ready, if you're doing text or things, you're going to have to do that in an outside program. But if you're just working with the iPad, you don't want to go through a lot of other things. It is pretty easy just to do it on the iPad. I'm going to exit the app, and I'm going to go to Sketchbook Express. This is just the free version of Sketchbook, so you don't have to pay for it. Just download it from the App Store. And, he's already there, but I'll show you how I made him. So what you do is you're going to import a photo from the photo library. And I'm going to choose the yellow bird. And there he is. You can see he's actually quite small. The other program was making him big. I'm going to transform the layer with that button. And then I can move him around and make him bigger or smaller. And I can, reposition him. And I'm going to put him down a bit on the surface because he's closer to me and it's easier to work with on cookies. I'm going to make him a little smaller than I think he actually needs to be because in that other program I can go bigger, but I can't go smaller. So then I'm just going to go ahead and save him. And I'm going to select him and I'm going to export him out to the photo library. Pick the photo orientation. Go back to the Camera Lucida. Reorient my app here. And then I can pick from my camera roll where he was. And there he is. So now he's the right size. He's tiny because all of that white space is now a part of the image, and it's opening it up as big as it can, but that's as big as it can make it because that's actually part of the image now. And when you enter drawing mode, he'll be big enough. If you thought he was a little bit too small at this point, if you put him on your cookie and he was too small, you could go back and you can make him a little bigger. Just pan him up a little. You're just kind of eyeballing it. We're not really worried about him being specific. And drop him down, and there you go. Now he'd be ready to draw, and he's small and he's the right size. That's really just something that's kind of persnickety with the iPad because it's not designed for tiny little things, but it's an easy fix. So that's pretty much it. If you end up getting the app, then make sure you give a good review to the developer. Visit the blog at clickattachstreet.com. You can see the full post, how more information about the stand and everything like that. And thank you for watching.